everybody, welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today I'm going to be doing my review of the Iron Maiden Future Past World Tour 2-pack set. Now I'm really excited about this set because of the fact that I'm a huge Iron Maiden fan and I really love Iron Maiden's artwork. I think like their album covers are probably some of the coolest album covers I've ever seen. Now, one of the things that really got me with this set is that they're doing the Somewhere in Time Eddie. That's one of my favorite Eddies. Actually, it is my favorite piece of art by Iron Maiden. And one of my favorite albums, too. So that made this set a must-have for me. Plus, I do like the overall look of the Samurai Eddie. I think he looks really cool. So I'm really excited to see what they did with these figures. So first off, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed. You're very much appreciated. And for anybody who likes this video and hasn't subscribed yet, then I please ask that you subscribe and also check out my Iron Maiden playlist. So, without any further ado, let's get to the review. So here they are in packaging. I love the packaging for this. I love the duality artwork to it. So first off, you have Iron Maiden, the Future Past World Tour, action figure 2-pack. Now on this side obviously represents the Samurai, which is really cool. And then on this side obviously represents the future version of Eddie, which I really dig that. You open this side up. Let's bring it this way a little bit. You can see Eddie from Somewhere in Time in his packaging. You can see him, all his accessories, and then you got this nice picture of him right there. Okay, open up the other side. You get the same setup where you can see him with all his accessories, and then you get a nice picture of him as well. All right, spin it around this way. You get the Iron Maiden logo. You get the Samurai Eddie, which looks really neat. I do like that. On the back, whoops, you get this collage here. I like this a lot. So you get this split collage of both characters. So you got Future Eddie here, and you got Samurai Eddie over there, Iron Maiden, and even the Iron Maiden's dual colored. So on this side, you got your white. On that side, you got your yellow. Spinning around here. Now you got a picture of Future Eddie, which looks really cool. Spinning around this way. Iron Maiden, your age restriction, choking hazards, and NECA. And underneath you have your skew and legal. So with all that being said, let's open them up and see what they're about. So here he is out of packaging. I like the overall look to this figure. So first off, we're going to get into his points of articulation. So the head does move. All right. You do have a shoulder joint with a swivel. All right, you got an elbow joint and a wrist joint. Okay, get this other arm up. You do have a joint right here at the hips. Spin them around this way. You have a thigh joint. All right, you do have a swivel at the knee. And there's the knee joint. And you have an ankle joint. All right. Spin them back around this way. Set them up a little bit better. And now let's start getting into his finer details. So first off, love the head sculpt. The head sculpt looks really, really cool. So let's take a look at it from this side. And you got all this really cool detail up here and stuff. I really like that. And then take a look at it on this side. All right. And now you get down into his armor. I love how his armor is all set up. So you have the symbol here on the chest. You have what looks to be like blood splatter and what have you on it. Even on the ropes that hold the armor together is very well detailed. The same with when you get down into his legs. So you have your traditional samurai style leg pieces and armament, which is really nice. I do like that. You spin them around this way. All right, you got other blotches of color on his armor and what have you. Same with his legs. And when we move this arm down like this, You could get a better look at his shoulder armor, which is really nice. And you have the back. The back is a little bit cleaner. Like the front has all the splashes of color, but the back is a little bit cleaner. You can even see tears in his pants as well, so that's pretty cool. All right, this side pretty much similar to the other side. And now back around to the front. So now we're going to get into all his different accessories. So first off, he has a couple of different hands. So you got this pointing hand here. All right. He has a middle finger hand. All right. And he also has your standard heavy metal devil horns hand. Okay. He comes with two swords. So he comes with this sword here. Okay. And this one. All right. Now, I do like this, like, kind of electric flame effect. I think it would pop more, though, if, like, this was, like, more of a gloss, to really make it have, like, that shiny, you know, energy field type look, but it still looks all right. Okay. Next up, you have his smaller sword. I believe this is a Wakazaki, if I remember right. Okay. He has an alternate head. I actually like this head design. The way how the teeth and all come out reminds me of some sort of demon from like an anime or something. So I like the overall look to this head sculpt. He has his helmet. The helmet looks pretty cool. You got like this greenish metal, so it looks like oxidized uh brass. Same with the piece up here. So I like the overall look to his helmet. Okay. He has a scabbard for his sword. All right, and last but not least, what they did with these guys is here you got the hilt and handle for your sword. So what they did with him was they do what the Japanese action figures usually do is they'll have a hilt set like this that just connects into the sword instead of the whole sword going in. So you have this here for the sword and this one here for the Wakazaki. Now, me personally, I'm not a big fan of this. I just feel like it just gives you more pieces for you to be able to lose that are unnecessary. And that's just my personal thoughts on that. All right. So now that we looked at everything, let's see how well it all goes together. So first off, let's put the helmet on him. Boom. So the helmet fits nicely. I don't have any issues with how the helmet fits. All right. Next is his sword. It fits right into his belt here. So this piece will come out so it kind of holds it in place. Eventually, there it goes. All right. So that fits just as well. Now he already has his two holding hands in, so we're going to do the swords next. All right. Now these hands are kind of tight. They're really hard to move. I don't know how well we're going to get stuff into them. All right. Actually, small sword fit pretty easy. So hopefully this sword will fit just as easily. Now that's tight. Yeah, that's really, really tight. Whoops. So you may want to use heat on the swords. Okay, just because of the fact that that's a tight fit. Like this, the small one works fine, no issues. This sword, I'm really having to work it, get it in there. All right. So now let's try the other sword. We'll try the other sword in this hand. Ugh. Yeah. So I do have it in there, but the problem is you got this piece right here in the middle, and it's hard to get the hand past it. I'm sure you probably could, like I said, if you use a little bit of hot water and bathe these two hands into hot water, you could probably get it all the way up to the suba, but for the most part, it's really tight, really hard to move them through. I wish they kind of would have used a softer plastic for the hands or to maneuver a little bit better, but they are on, so can't really complain about that. So now let's try these alternate hands. All right. So you got the metal hands, and let's have the pointing hand. All right. So those hands work very well with them. No issues. Now for your middle finger hand. All right. So the middle finger works just as well as for your swords here. All right, that fits in nice and tight. And that one fits as well. So all that fits. And then last but not least, let's swap these heads out. That came off pretty easily, actually. Bit of a surprise. And this one, eventually will go in there. I'd have to rotate it a little bit. All right, that's on. So let's take a look at this head. Let's get this arm down. All right. Yeah, I like this head a lot, actually. I think that's like really, really cool. All right. And now for the headpiece. Boom. So the headpiece fits just as well on this one as it did the other one. So overall, everything works really well with this figure. I don't have any issues with him. All right, so next we got the Somewhere in Time Eddie. Now, this has always been my favorite version of him. Somewhere in Time not only is my favorite album, but one of my favorite cover arts as well. Matter of fact, that was the whole reason why I bought it when I was a kid. I was at the music store and I saw the cassette tape. And I thought the cover was really cool, so I had to pick up the album. So he's been my favorite ever since. So first, we're going to start getting into his points of articulation. So the head does move. You got a shoulder joint here. All right. You have an elbow joint and a wrist joint. Get this other arm up. All right. You do have a torso joint. All right. Spin them around this way. You have a thigh joint, a knee joint, and you also have an ankle joint. So all his joints seem to work pretty well on him. Don't have any issues with that. Get this arm down. So now let's get into his finer details. So first off, love the head sculpt. The head sculpt looks amazing. So you got this side here. All right, bring them around to this side. Just the amount of detail in all of this looks really neat. All right. And even when you spin it around and you look at the top, you get all the wires, nooks, and now the same when you start getting into the body. So you got that little symbol on his chest that this character is iconically known for. You get, like, if you look at the sides, you get all these wires and workings inside there. Toxic Waste logo. Even into his legs, like you have the muscle detail, all this metal framing in his body and what have you. So I do like that overall look. That looks really cool. Spinning around to this side. You can see more of the electronics in his arms and what have you. The same with his legs. And then let's pick this arm up. So you also have your holsters here with your laser guns. Some more wires and what have you. And then look at this back. The back detail is amazing how they did the spinal cord here in that like gold. That looks really cool. Even the muscles and stuff up here in the top. I really like all this detail to his body. And then, of course, back down to the legs where you have more of the framing and what have you. All right. This side, very much similar to the other side. Looks really cool. I love the attention to detail. All right. And now let's start getting into his accessories. He doesn't have that many accessories, but be honest with you, this character really don't need them. So he has these two open hands here. All right, one, and then two. Then he has his trigger hands. So one, and two. Okay. And then next, I thought this was like a laser gun, but if you look here, it has a clip. So I guess this is actually some sort of machine gun, like a futuristic style machine gun. All right. So now let's start getting into the different hands. So we're going to swap these off. I'm going to put these hands in here. All right. All right, so there we go. So these hands work fine. I have no issues with them. All right. Now let's do the trigger hands. All right. All right, they swapped out pretty well. Let's see how well these guns work in there. All right. Now, the nice thing about this one opposed to the Samurai is the hands are a lot more flexible. So you can actually get these guns in here pretty easily. I wish they would have made the Samurai's hands this flexible. Because right now I can just move these fingers around. This one's giving me a little bit of a problem. There we go. So I was able to easily maneuver these hands and fingers to get them into the trigger. So they used a softer plastic for the hands, and I like that. I like that a lot. It made it so much easier to put these guns in there. All right. Now let's put this one back in its holster. All right. And then let's do this gun. Trying to get that finger in there. What's happening is it is a little bit on the loose side, and it's just a matter of maneuvering it. That's all. Got it, got it, got it. Almost have it. Damn, finger does not want to work well with this. There it goes. All right, so there we go. So now you got that gun in his hand as well. So all his accessories swap out really well with him. I don't have any issues with any of that. So now let's get into my final thoughts with these two. First off, the joints work pretty well. I didn't have any issues with the joints moving. There was a little bit of stiffness, but nothing a little bit of hot water can't figure out. But for the most part, they're really good. No problems with movement. Accessories, the heads and hands and all swapped out really well. Didn't have any issues with any of that. The weapons, for the most part, work, and I'll get into that in a little bit later. Also, I love the detail to these two figures. They look great. They got a lot of really cool detail, all the way to like all his mechanics, his exo frame and whatever, and all the detail into his head looks really good. With him, you got that rusted, old, oxidized metal look to him, blood splatter and what have you. And just his demon head looks like really cool. So I love the overall look to both of these figures. Excuse me. So now let's get into what I don't like. And unfortunately, a lot of what I don't like comes around the Samurai. And they're not major things, but they are things that are worth expressing. So first off, I with his hands, putting the swords in it, I would highly recommend that you use hot water for that because the hands are really tight on him and they're hard hands, so they don't move very easily. Which is a shame because his counterpart, they actually gave him softer hands. So his guns and weapons went in very easily. So I don't understand why they didn't do that for both figures, but if you want to probably get those swords, his hands all the way up to the Suba, you're more than likely going to have to use hot water with this figure, especially if you want to do like maybe like a two-handed hold or something. You're going to have to use hot water. So that's my main issue with this figure. The other one, and this is a personal thing, is I don't like the factor that his sword and his was Wakazaki, that you have to have a separate handle to go in the sheaths. Like the whole sword don't go in. You have to have extra parts for that. And that's something that's always been an issue to me. I know a lot of Japanese companies do that as well. I don't like it because I feel like it just gives you a whole bunch of unnecessary parts that you don't need, with the figure that can get easily lost in the tub or, whatever. So, you know, that's a personal preference. That's not an issue with the figure. If you're somebody who likes that, cool. It's just not my gig. So at the end of the day, would I recommend these figures? Absolutely. I think these are a must-have for any Maiden fan because they just look great. They have a lot of really good detail to them. They look awesome. And I think they would go great for anybody who isn't even a Maiden fan, who just likes horror and sci-fi. These guys would look great with any kind of collection like that. I love the overall look to these. I would highly recommend these guys. So with that being said, I hope you all did like this review. If you did, go ahead and check out my Iron Maiden playlist and hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So until the next one, late.